Morning. In last class, I already discussed about queue switching and mode locking. Queue switching and mode locking in lasers. Okay. The next topic is in this session. Now I am asked to discuss about types of lasers. Types of lasers. Here, basically, there are five types of lasers are there. First one is solid state laser, gas laser, and dye lasers, semiconductor lasers, and liquid lasers. Solid state laser. In this solid state lasers, again there are two types of the lasers are there: ruby laser and ND-YAG, ND-YAG laser. Ruby laser and ND-YAG laser and ND glass laser also in solid state lasers. Coming to gas lasers, in gas lasers, then again there are the three types of the lasers are there: helium neon laser, argon ion laser, and carbon dioxide lasers. Okay, carbon dioxide lasers. Now coming to the dye lasers. Here actually the dye lasers are, in dye lasers there are two types of the lasers are there: rhodamine 6G laser and coumarin dye lasers. These are the two lasers are there. But in our syllabus, we are discussing only as a dye laser. Okay. Next, semiconductor laser. In semiconductor laser, there are two types. Again, there are the gallium arsenide laser and in P laser. That means in phosphorus lasers. Next, coming to last laser is liquid lasers. In liquid laser, that is uh, silicon oxide, silicon oxide laser and Iroquoium cholate laser. These are under the five lasers. Again, we have to there are different types of lasers are there. Okay, solid state laser, gas laser, dye laser, semiconductor laser, and liquid laser. Okay. Now I want to discuss in this session. Now I am going to a solid state lasers. Okay. Here, first one, solid state laser. In this solid state laser, the first laser is a ruby laser. Okay. Solid state laser. That is, first laser is a ruby laser. Before now, I am going to the discuss about that ruby laser. First of all, the first laser they are invented, my man, in 1960. That is a ruby laser. Okay, now the first invented laser is a ruby laser. For historical reasons, solid state lasers are lasers in which active ions in crystal or glass host materials are optically pumped to create population inversion. Population inversion. Here there are other types are there. Other types of semiconductor lasers, liquid lasers, and dye lasers are there. In other types of lasers that employs a solid state gain media or semiconductor lasers and optical fiber lasers and amplifiers. Here, since these lasers employ very specialized technologies and design principles, they are usually treated separately from conventional bulk solid state lasers. Okay, conventional bulk solid state lasers. Now coming to the semiconductor lasers or diode lasers are mostly electrically pumped. Okay, na? Mostly electrically pumped or how we are pumping to the principle or optical pumping may be possible with some are versatile and provide a large range of average and peak power. Okay, that's why the first invented laser is a solid state laser, that is a ruby laser. Now I am going to the ruby laser. The first type is a ruby laser. The first laser is the first laser developed in 1960. T.H. Myman in Bell Laboratories in USA. Bell Laboratory, that is a ruby laser. Coming to that, in ruby lasers, how the structure is there? What are the components are there in ruby laser? Here in ruby laser, one ruby rod is there. Ruby rod. Okay, na? Here that ruby rod is in the it is that is synthetic pink crystal. Actually, that is a synthetic pink crystal. Here on that synthetic pink crystal, what is there? Aluminum oxide doped with the what is this? Chromium ions. Aluminum oxide doped with chromium ions. That is nothing but a synthetic pink rod. That is the ruby rod. Okay, now actually in this ruby laser, chromium ion concentration is very less concentration. How much of the concentration? 0.05% of concentration. That is approximately 1 into 6, 1.6 into 10 to the power of 25 ions per cubic meters. Okay, these are very less amount of the chromium ions are there on the particular ruby rod. Okay, here why we are selecting this chromium ions? Here actually less amount of the chromium ion, because of when the pumping action, when we are pumping action is going on there, we require the atoms, the density of the lower level atoms are very high. Due to that, there is, even though we are pumping, the atoms are not excited, it not goes to the higher level. When we are mixing this chromium ions, here the atoms are excited very fastly from the lower level to the higher level. Okay, that's why we are using here a chromium ions. Okay, is it clear? Next, here in this active centers, chromium ions have a set of 3 energies. Here actually this ruby laser is a 3-level laser. Okay, na? This ruby laser is a 3-level laser. In this 3-level laser, here level 1 E1, level 2 E3, level 3 E3, level 2 E2, level 3 is E3. Here aluminum oxide, aluminum and oxygen ions are inserted in the particular ruby rod. Okay, in the ruby rod. Ruby crystals, as the shape of the ruby rod is in the form of cylindrical shape, cylindrical rod. That length of the particular length is 4 centimeters and the particular diameter of the ruby rod is 0.5 centimeters. Here helical photographic flash lamp or xenon lamp is we are placing on the particular ruby rod. Here this is construction. Coming to the construction of the ruby laser, here this is ruby rod. Okay, now I am, this is helical type of flash lamp, xenon lamp, helical type of one xenon lamp, flash lamp. Okay, now here in one side of here we are coolant is also there, the end of the rod. Here there are 2 mirrors are there. External mirror, this is external mirror partially transparent, this is external mirror fully transparent, fully coated with the silver. Here partially coated with the silver. Okay, here is coming to the construction. The ruby rod, the ruby rod is wounded, or the ruby rod is we can place in the by flash lamp. Okay, now when these are sources power supply, here sources power supply is there, the typical ruby rod laser with the internal mirrors. Okay, with external mirrors, there is no mirrors are there. This is the construction. In this construction, the ruby rod is there, helical lamp is there, that is the xenon lamp. The xenon lamp, the input is required, that's why here power supply is there. Here one switch is there, the capacitor is there. Okay, this is the supply where when we are giving the Q switching purpose we are using this capacitor, and this is the switch is there. Okay, now we are giving supply, power supply, and two mirrors and ruby rod. In this ruby rod, what are that aluminum, in this particular ruby rod, aluminum oxide is there and chromium is there. Okay, chromium. Here this is construction. Here coming to the operation of the ruby laser, when we are giving some input supply for this xenon lamp, okay na, when we are giving some input supply to this xenon lamp, when the light is flashed on the particular in this helical shape, okay na, due to the light here in this rod is heated, due to the light intensity of this light here this rod is heated. Whenever this rod is heated, the molecules are the atoms are, it can travels from the lower level to the higher level. Here how that atoms are, or the molecules, we can travel from the lower level to the higher level by using a pumping action is required. Here a pumping action is required. Here due to that lower level to the higher level, now operation, coming to the operation, here there are actually the ruby laser is a 3-level laser. In this 3-level laser, the atoms are, whenever we are giving the supply, the light is flashed, due to the radiation, the atoms are excited from the lower level to the higher level. Okay na? By using a pumping action. Here that atoms here initially is in the form of a ground level. Even though we are giving the pumping, some atoms are is in this lower level only. That's why we are to adding a chromium. Whenever we are adding the chromium, the density of the chromium is very less, okay na, as compared to the aluminum oxide. To pumping of that aluminum oxide atoms to the higher level, we are adding some chromium. Okay na? When the light is given, here this rod is heated. When the rod is heating, the molecules are travels from this one end to the another end. That means partially reflected mirror side. At that partially reflected mirror side, then we are getting some laser beam output. How we are getting some laser beam sharp output? By using, I already discussed in last class, by using Q switching and Q switching action, we are getting a sharp narrow output. Okay. Now this is here in this, actually these are the construction, how we can place a laser rod, and how we are giving a pumping lamp, that is xenon lamp. This is structure external, these are external mirrors, these are the focal axis. Okay na, this is laser rod. Okay, now end faces grounded and polished. One end face of the mirror is ground and one end face of the mirror is polished. Mostly silvered faces, all we know that is in end faces of the mirrors are silvered faces. That is 100%. One end of the mirror is polished with the silver 100%. One end of the mirror is polished with the 90%. Because of reflection, we require the laser light, we have to transmit from the one end to the another end. Okay. System, the total system is cooled with the help of the coolant circulating around the ruby rod. Okay na? We require, if we are continuously we are giving the supply, there may be chance of overheat of particular ruby rod. To control that overheat, then coolant is required. Okay na? That coolant is required. By using that coolant, we can monitoring and we can controlling the particular ruby rod. Okay. In practical laser, flash lamps are helical design no longer used. Okay na? Flash lamps of helical designs no longer is used. Most commonly used are linear lamps. Most commonly we are using a linear lamps. Okay na? Instead of linear lamps, now we are using a helical type of lamps. Next, these are how a ruby laser is working. In this, actually this is a 3-level laser. Here energy level 1, energy level 2, energy level 2, energy level 3. Here in the first initially the pumping action, the atoms are excited at that higher level with that with the pumping action with the frequency 550 nanometers, 550 nanometers and 400 nanometers. The atoms are goes from the energy level 1 to energy level 2. Here in this atoms are, these are, if it is atoms are excited more than the E3, then here the more than the E3 here, why? Because these are atoms are in energy level E3, the atoms are aluminum oxide atoms are there. More than E3 level, that means E3 dash, here chromium atoms are there. Chromium atoms are, because the density of the chromium is very less as compared to that aluminum oxide. Okay, na? At the when we are reaching that higher level, then again the atoms, it comes to the lower level. Lower level. Lower level means what is the that lower level is E2. The lower level is, in the lower level the radiative transition is there. Initially when it is reaches to the, after it will reaches to the higher level, it will then again it will comes to the lower level. What is that lower level? That is E2. In this E2, here from E3 dash to E2, it will comes from E3 dash to E2 and E3 to E2. Okay, na? Here this E2, it acts as a metastable state. In this metastable state, here from that atoms, when we are in this metastable state only, from the E2 to E1, here there is population inversion is occurred. If it is population inversion occurred, then we are getting the strong laser output. Okay, na? Strong spontaneous emission, due to the spontaneous emission or population emission is occurred in this from the energy level to E energy level 3. Here in this population emission, here the range from 694.3 nanometer laser transition. Okay, na? Laser transition. Here the atoms are stays some time after population inversion. The atoms from, it will goes from the E3 to E1. This is major operation of the our Ruby laser. Here coming to this operation, it is a 3-level laser system. Here E2, that is E2, it acts as the metastable state. In this metastable state, it can stay the atoms up to 3 microseconds. Okay, na? 3 microseconds. Okay, Ruby rod pumped with the intense xenon lamp flash lamp. Okay, na? Ruby rod is always pumped with the intense of xenon flash lamp. Here ground state of chromium ions absorb light at pump bands within the range from 550 nanometers and 400 nanometers. Non-radiative transitions from E2. Non-radiative transition from E3 to E2. Okay, E3 to E2. There is no non-radiative transition. There is no emission is there. And population inversion is occurred in E2. Okay, na? Radiative transition from E2 to E1. Here this is radiative transition from energy level E2 to E1. Okay, next. And red wavelength at 694.3 nanometers. At the wavelength of particular light is 694.3 nanometers. Under intense excitation, always the pumping always greater than critical threshold. Intense excitation, the pumping action is always greater than critical threshold. A spontaneous fluorescent photon acts as input and trigger. Okay, na? Spontaneous photon is acts as a trigger. Stimulated emission, that is system lasers. Stimulated emission is system lasers. Now, how we are getting an output in Ruby laser? In Ruby laser, pulsed output, pulsed with a low repetition rate. The Ruby laser output is pulsed and very low repetition rate. We are getting some output. This is input of our input. Now we are getting output illumination. From where the range from 0.5 to 0.9. In this range only we are getting this output. Okay. Now series of irregular spikes stretching over the duration of pump pulse. Q switching concentrate output into the single pulse. By using Q switching, we are getting only one narrow beam output, single pulse output. Next, ruby lasers stimulated transition faster than rate at which the population inversion is maintained. Always stimulated transition very faster and at what rate population inversion is maintained. Once stimulated emission is commenced, okay, na, the metastable state, that is E2, depopulate very rapidly. At the end of each pulse, population at E2 falls below the threshold value required for sustaining emission of light. Lasing cases and laser becomes inactive. When it is inactive, up to the next pulses will be arrived. You know, up to that is next pulses will be arrived. These are the operation of our ruby laser. And high energy stored capacity due to long upper laser level lifetime. Because of high energy is we can store pulse energy up to how much pulse energy up to we can get 1000 joules. Oh, sorry, 100 joules. 100 joules. Okay, and relatively it is the ruby lasers are inefficient. The range of ruby lasers approximately that is 0.1 to 1%. And variety of applications where we are using this ruby lasers, variety different application, diagnostic application, holographic application, plasma therapy application, and what is this in toys for the kids, toys application, toys purpose application we are using. Okay, na? Next, coming to the advantages of ruby lasers. From cost point of view, the ruby lasers are very economical because of the ruby laser is invented in very first laser as compared to that other laser, that is semiconductor lasers or the gas lasers or the what is that other lasers. The cost of the ruby lasers are very low, and beam diameter of the ruby laser is comparatively less than CO2 laser, that is carbon dioxide laser, gas lasers. And output power of ruby laser is not less than in helium neon gas laser. Okay, and since the ruby laser in solid state, ruby laser is actually it is a solid state laser. It is a solid state. Therefore, there is no chance of wasting material active in medium. Okay, na? No chance of material in active medium. This is advantages. Coming to the disadvantages, what are the main disadvantages? Ruby lasers in signification stimulated emission is occurred. Particular stimulated emission. What is the signification stimulated emission? When we are adding the chromium ions, then only we can then only the atoms are excited. Okay, na? That's why these are the main disadvantage. And until at least half of the ground state electrons have been excited to the metastable state. Okay, na? And one more disadvantage, effectively of ruby lasers is comparatively low. That means the efficiency of ruby laser is very, as compared to other lasers, efficiency is very low. And optical cavity of ruby lasers is short as compared to the other lasers. Optical cavity of ruby lasers are very short, which may be considered as the one. If it is optical cavity of the any laser is very less, there may be chance of dispersion, or there may be chance of losses is there. Okay, these are disadvantages. Coming to the applications, one of the first application of the ruby laser was in range finding. How we are finding the range finding, how much of that distance, ranging finding, and due to output power, due to very low output power, they are class 1 because there is no hazardness, of ruby lasers. Okay, lasers, it is a class 1 lasers. So many, that's why we can using in toys and toys for children. It can be used as a decoration purpose and piece artistic display purpose. Okay, na? These are applications. Now, the next laser, semiconductor laser, is a neodymium based laser. Neodymium based laser. In neodymium based lasers there are two types of the lasers are there. First laser is neodymium YAG laser. Neodymium yttrium aluminum garnet. YAG. YAG means, that is YAG means yttrium aluminum garnet. Neodymium YAG lasers. And next laser is neodymium glass lasers. These are two lasers are there. These are also semiconductors, that is, these are also solid state lasers. Okay. In this, energy levels of the neodymium ion takes place lasing action. Okay, na? Both are, these are neodymium based lasers, or both are 4-level lasers. And YAG, yttrium aluminum garnet, it acts as the host. It acts as the host. Okay, na? YAG and glass are host in which neodymium ions are used. By using neodymium ions, we are getting some laser output. Neodymium based, first one is neodymium YAG laser. For here, the major difference between neodymium YAG laser and neodymium glass laser. In neodymium YAG lasers, we are getting a continuous output, continuous laser output. Neodymium glass laser, we are getting a pulsed output. Okay, a pulsed output. Here, most of the cases, we are using a pulsed output only for communication applications. Okay, now I am going to the ND-YAG laser. ND-YAG for continuous or very high pulse rate operation, we are using only ND neodymium yttrium aluminum garnet laser is we have preferred. The emission, the wavelength of where the emission at 1.06 micrometers, that is 106 nanometers. Okay, na? The emission at where the emission is where the emission we are getting at range 1.06 micrometers, and pump band and excitations are 0.81 micrometer and 0.75 micrometer, and spontaneous lifetime of the laser transition is approximately 550 microseconds. Spontaneous lifetime is approximately, that is equal to the 550 microseconds. Next, has a ND-YAG lasers that has much lower threshold of oscillation than a Ruby laser. Output energy in the order of 100 joules per millijoules per pulse. It is used in resistor trimming, scribbling, micro machining application, welding hole purpose and drilling purpose. We are using this ND-YAG lasers. Now, what is ND-YAG lasers? The detailed discussion of ND-YAG lasers I will discuss in next class. Okay. Construction, how the operation, the energy level, application, advantages of ND-YAG, ND-YAG YAG laser and ND glass lasers I will discuss in next class.